Jeff Spring joins us now. Questions for Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. How
Hey.
you doing today?
Hanging in there. How are you?
Well, I'm great, and we're here at the Waco Charity Open event, getting really excited for another weekend. We've heard all kinds of things about the beast and the weather, but really we're more interested in hearing from you about the course and the conditions of the course itself. Are you feeling set up and ready to go for the players, no matter what the weather is?
Yeah, the course is looking cleaner than ever. They've trimmed out some of the wooded holes a little bit more, some good spectator areas, a little bit more room in there. But it still has tons of teeth in there. I think people love this course because of the dichotomy between the open and the wooded. And the wooded will still have like some sharp teeth for players this week. That said, the crew's done a great job. I getting player feedback that it looks a little bit better than last year, which means it's looking better than ever.
Awesome. That sounds pretty good. And again, we've mentioned this at the LVC, and we've heard again that there is tightened player and spectator securities and different ways that we interact with the spectators. Will that be happening again here this weekend?
Yeah, for the season, we're just like upping credentialing, event access. Just a baby step forward. As the sport grows, more and more people want to be on site, and sites have limited availability to host certain numbers of people. So whether it's through media or spectating or player support, there's kind of official routes for everybody to get on site. People can go to discgolfprotour.com, dgpt.com, request media access. And then, for spectators, we're sold out for the weekend, actually, which is exciting. So
Yes.
First sellout of the year. We're going to have well over 1,000 people on site. In the woods, it's limited to about 200 because there's not a lot of room in there. But we have a ton of general admission spectating areas. We're discussing whether or not we can add a little bit more. But I think this is the first year that we're welcoming spectators back since 2019. So like in 2020, we suspended the tour here on day 2. And then in 2021, we were under phase, I think, 3 of COVID restrictions, which meant no spectators. So this is the first time we're going to have like big numbers of folks out here. And we're really excited to see like how it works. So we're being a little bit cautious, little cautious, but we think like 1,200 people a day. Maybe we'll open some up from Sunday if we feel like we're handling it well.
That's great news.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations on inviting back the Texas and local spectators. And I'm going to pass you off to the next person.
Hey, Jeff. Hayden with the PDGA. Kind of following up on that, this place has a footnote in disc golf history where you were standing right here and when everything shut down. So, I mean, how can you summarize the past 2 years to kind of getting back to, normal right now here in Waco?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, just like any industry or anyone in society, has experienced. So it just feels finally a little bit more normal, and hopefully that trend continues throughout this season. I think, the 50th state just dropped the last indoor mask mandate. That said, we're still following our COVID policy and have like a lot of protections in place. But it is kind of feeling like back to normal for the most part. And it's wonderful that, we're back here at Waco with a different scenario for spectators and excitement and people on site in 2022.
What is it about the beast that makes it a Disc Golf Pro Tour stop?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very unique venue in that like we've had very significant finishes and events take place here. Last year we had a battle between Kale and Nico, 2 people that have been playing since the middle of the aughts, the 2000s, at a high professional level. And for them to pop up and have this epic battle last year was super special. In 2019, Paul Macbeth shot 18 down for the second time in his career. Very notable then. We've had, kind of a really rich history of different winners here. And that's what makes it a very compelling tour stop. Early season, I think anything can happen. I think the storylines that the media might have about who's going to do well here right now are basically not going to be the same ones at the end of the week. So that pretty much summarizes it in my mind.
Hello, Jeff.
Hey.
I have kind of a more general question for you. I know we're talking about the Waco Annual Charity Open this week, But I can't help but go back to when you're talking about us finally getting back to where we can start selling spectator passes, not having to limit as many people coming out. We can actually let the floodgates open and let people come enjoy disc golf. With that said, I know disc golf in 2020 experienced this massive growth, and with disc golf having massive growth, there's always infrastructural issues that come in that you have to inevitably deal with as the director. So you're always having to look forward and, you know, anticipate what's next. This question is allowing you to speculate just a little bit, but what do you anticipate being that next growing pain, that next infrastructural challenge if disc golf continues to grow from a spectator standpoint and a professional standpoint?
We're dealing with it right now. I mean, I think like managing a high volume of spectators in a way that continues to preserve the competitive integrity of the courses is like top of the list. So, you know, from satellite lots to shuttles to, you know, clear, concise information on who can get in and out, access. These are all big questions on our mind, and we're really focused in the start of the season to kind of implement our new practices, honestly. And so that's current. In the future, I mean, we're working with venues right now to talk about spectating revenue. It's really about profit sharing. We're putting some to the purse for the players. We're putting some to the event team to finally expand and maybe not just have straight volunteers running these events, and create a little bit more sustainability for the event teams. But then lastly, infrastructure on site. Like I'm talking to Steve Dodge at Maple Hill, who made news recently with a, you know, I think a $2 million 10-year contract with their presenting partner. Wild, awesome, great for growth of the tour. At the same time, he's looking at how to put 3,000 people in the stands at Maple Hill. So we're talking about using some of the yearly spectator money to allot towards infrastructure improvements, permanent, you know, stands, you know, grandstands, cleared out areas, adjustments to the course. These are all topics for, you know, the rest of this year and into the future, as you know.
That's all I have for you.
All right. Yeah, well, I think we were incorporating some of our media partners, which went well, you know, Gatekeeper included, and but I would say back to the question about infrastructure. You know, I think that we worked with the LVC team to try to, you know, promote spectator tickets and find like a good way in Las Vegas to find, you know, extra parking and shuttling, and that was a learning experience. But generally, you know, it's the start of the year, and my takeaway was we have, you know, more resources and a bigger team than before, and we're really working on just like routing people into, you know, like recurring roles in a way that like helps the tour, you know, kind of to the same topic that I've been talking about for the last 10 minutes. The tour like kind of roll out, you know, a better system for more people on site, more professionalism for players, and I'm sorry I don't just have one, Chris, but I appreciate the question.
Good. That was all I had. Thank you.
All right.
Jeff, thanks for joining us. We'll be right
Thanks
back.
a lot.
Welcome back. Questions for Nico?
Hi, Nico.
Hi.
Zoe and Ike here with the Disc Golf Network,
Hi, Zoe.
and we're out at the Beast. I just have one question for you, and coming into this weekend, knowing that you have won and placed very highly at this event, knowing that this course has so much personality, character, and really just it takes a passionate player, can you reflect to us or to the audience what you're thinking about this weekend? What's going to take you to the top?
I think it's mindset and determination, willpower. To me, it's another walk in the park. I'm trying not to put too much extra pressure on myself to come here and repeat, but that's definitely on my mind that I would love to show up and repeat and play my heart out and come out on top. I got the same game plan at pretty much every tournament, but it does mean a lot to me to come here and try to defend the title and put on a show for the crowd and just play my best. I'm showing up here. Same thing as last year. I don't come here for the hype. I come here to play disc golf, and I come here to perform at an all-time best.
That's awesome. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Here's Brian Earhart.
Mr. Brian.
Hey, Nico.
Hey there, brother.
I got a nice question for you. We're going to go
Okay.
back in time a little bit.
Okay.
I will start by saying I did notice recently that you were throwing Gateway Spirits again,
Right.
which is an overstable driver that you've
It
thrown
is.
for a long time.
Right.
You've thrown a lot of different companies. You've thrown a lot of different discs. You've been playing disc golf for such a long time.
Correct.
I remember even recently you told me, I think last year you were getting bored of throwing backhands and you were putting more effort into sidearm because of that. I want to go back to the Spirit, though. Do you have any nostalgic memories now that it's back in your bag? Do you have any nostalgic memories maybe from a past life, in disc golf, throwing those discs?
Well, I got a lot of confidence in the Gateway lineup. I have been playing with the company for a long time, and the fact that my uncle owns the company and I have a lot of support there at the shop from all the members, it means even more to me, I'd say, because I want to put on for those guys. If that's my team, if that's who I'm working with this year, Gateway and Clash Discs, then I want to come out here and represent them well and play to the best of my ability. And like I said, I don't show up for the hype. I show up to compete.
Thank you.
Hey, Nico, Hayden with the PDGA. And kind of in that same vein, a new bag. What's that process been like? Has it been fun? Has it been frustrating?
No,
filling
not
it out?
frustrating at all. If anything, it's been fun, and it's instilled more confidence within myself that I can pick and choose what discs are going to work best for me, and I'm confident in my lineup right now. I feel like I have a good selection of discs to choose from between Gateway, Clash, and I have a couple other random discs in my bag as well, and I'm coming into this tournament with confidence. I've played here before. I've performed well, and that's the game plan. I come in here, I got a game plan on every hole. I'm showing up here on hole number 1 to get some practice in right now, so as soon as this interview's done, I'm back to the practice field and back to the grind.
Hey, Nico, Chris with Gatekeeper Media. A little bit to go off of that. You've been touring a very long time. When you finish that final practice round right before the tournament, what does like a day in the life look like that night before the tournament / morning before your first round?
I definitely want to do some meditation and kind of clear my mind and just make a clear space and have a clear conscience of what I want to do. I don't want to feel too overwhelmed with all the thoughts and all the things that can build up in time. I have been going through some transitions here, switching from West Side into my new lineup. So the game of life is transition after transition. So I'm learning and growing every day and figuring out how I could be the best player that I could be, the best businessman, and just do the best with the opportunities that I have in front of me when it comes to disc golf.
Nico, thank you. We'll be right back.
All right.
Kona Panis joins us now. Questions for Kona?
Zoe and Ike here from the Disc Golf Network. Hi, Kona.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm great. It's beautiful weather out here today in Waco, Texas. We're here at the Beast. You've got lovely memories here. I think we could call you the people's champ, and everyone was celebrating when you won. Coming off of that and with an exciting new sponsor, how do you feel about this weekend, just in general?
You know, last year I went into the tournament with no expectations, and so I'm taking that same mindset. Talked to Seth Munsey, our disc golf strong rep, someone who I really trust, and going to focus on breathing and really living in the moment. But I'm just excited to be here. Colton and I pulled in, and, you know, it's just one of those feelings, you know, my first big event, and what an amazing feeling. So,
Absolutely. And with the new sponsor, by the way, congratulations again. Can you let us know what discs you're going to heavily be leaning on with the crazy winds and the open and the tight fairways out here?
yeah, so I actually struggled in Las Vegas learning my discs in the wind. I hadn't, you know, practiced enough. I'm going to put that on myself to put discs in the bag that I really trusted in those windy situations. And so this week I'm going to be relying on like my Felon, my most overstable driver and defender as well, you know, in those really windy situations. And once we get in those the woods, I'm going to be really throwing like my escapes and those slower speed drivers to stay in the fairway.
Awesome. Well, good luck this weekend, and we have questions from Brian Earhart next.
Okay.
Hello, Kona.
Hello.
Just a more general overall question for you. I know this week you're having to defend your title. You signed a new contract, big contract. Congratulations again on that. That's unbelievable. I've personally seen how hard you and Colton have worked over the past few years, grinding it out in the van and playing every single big event that you possibly can. So well deserved. I know, like you said just recently, the focus now is staying in the moment and staying present and not letting the immensity of the moment get the best of you. I guess my question is very general. After all these incredible successes that you've been having career-wise, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a mental struggle with, you know, the pressures of people online, but it's something that I don't think I would have ever had to overcome if I did anything else in my life. If I'd be working a 9-to-5 job, I think I wouldn't be as strong as I am now, and it's just pushing me to be a better person. So in the moment it sucks, but I know it's only going to make me a stronger person in the outcome. But you know, I'm just happy to be out here. I get messages from my CEO, Jeremy Rusko, just telling me how happy he is just to have me on the team.
Yeah.
And they see the potential in my game, and I'm just trying to work even harder. I actually got some tough love from my fiance the other day, and he's like, I don't think you practice enough. And I needed to hear that because I do practice, but I think I need to put more effort in, especially with the contract that I have.
Yeah, and especially with like the format of training always changes, especially you've been playing for a little while, and now as you make a living out of it, you have to maybe potentially change the way you train to match the goals that you have for yourself now.
sure.
So congratulations,
Thank
and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Hey, Kona. Hayden with the PDGA. Continuing with the practice thing, how has practice been for you since that moment and since Vegas, since you've started to learn some new things, and what does a practice day look like for you?
Yeah, so practice day, it's really focusing on my game plan on the course. So depending on what hole I'm throwing, if it's wooded or if it's open, really basing what I'm throwing off of the wind conditions. Today I feel like we might have a different wind than I've been practicing in, so kind of writing those things down in a note in my phone, just making sure I'm prepared. But you know, every single hole I'm throwing several shots, making sure it's the one that I want dialed in and engraving that in my head for when it comes, so I'm truly ready and don't have to second guess myself.
Hi, Kona. Chris with Gatekeeper. I have a quick question, not really disc golf related, but I know you and Colton got engaged. When's the wedding? Where? And what's going on with that, since we all kind of want to know?
Yeah, so we set the date for November 22nd. It's something we are counting down the days to. I mean, it feels like it's so far away, but it's going to be here in a snap of a finger. Estes Park, Colorado. And gosh, I'm so looking forward to it. It's something that, like, I'm trying to focus on my game, but I can't wait to marry that man.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and thank you. We'll be right back. questions for Katrina.
Hi, Katrina.
Hi.
Zoe with the Disc Golf Network here. So you had a weekend off last weekend and coming off a huge first Pro Tour title. What does Katrina Allen do with a weekend off?
I did some furniture shopping for my new apartment, which is a little tougher with the shortage of things. But so I did that. Got to hang out with my mom, have dinner with one of my best friends, Naomi, and then all of a sudden it was Monday morning and I was flying out. So
Wow. So you got a new place back home.
yeah,
Probably feels good to know that there's that landing spot and
Yeah.
the spot of your own. So congratulations on that.
thank you.
And you have won this event. You have placed highly in this event. You know the course. What's the plan for this weekend?
So I actually did something out of the ordinary, and Austin and I played a score round today, one shot. I really wanted to take the day off, but I just knew a few holes were kind of, eating at me, and so I wanted to get through and make sure, I knew what I was doing. And so it was actually kind of helped me to decide that. And there are some times where you really have to take your medicine if you're, sorry. There's going to be some spots where I get out of position, and I think what's led to some not so great finishes here is getting a little too aggressive when I'm out of position. So just really letting go of that birdie I want or that par and just advancing down the fairway. And yeah, because this place can really show you its teeth, and so I gotta just
Will you be throwing the Vortex around the course?
Yeah, there's a couple spots. Depends. I know that tomorrow there might be some 30-mile-an-hour winds I'm hearing. So it might just be hurricanes and hypercanes, but we'll see.
Awesome. And one last thing, we've got to bring it up. A couple years back, hole 18, almost throwing it in and landing in the basket for the eagle, I believe.
Yep.
Now, is the attack plan for the hole not to obviously throw it in, but the
Yeah.
exact same game plan to play it?
Yeah, yep. I'm actually going to throw a hurricane off the tee box, and then probably depending on left to right, headwind right to left, whatever's going on, I'm definitely just going to throw a short approach shot with either my breaker or my steady BL.
All right. Well, I know that the viewers at home are looking forward to seeing it stick in the basket.
Yes,
Here's
that would be
Brian
great.
Earhart.
Or I'm saving it for the $1 million ace coming up at MVP.
I will also sign up for that tournament if that happens. Hello, Katrina.
Hi.
I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So you threw Prodigy for the better part of a decade, almost a
9
pretty
years.
much 9 years, and you only threw that lineup, and now you've switched to a completely new bag. You're throwing all DGA, no Discraft, which
Yep.
I believe at some point players were allowed. You're throwing a full bag of DGA. Have you found yourself changing the way you've thrown? Changing discs. Obviously, you get used to a lineup, you get used to
Yeah.
certain molds, and you learn these molds very delicately.
Yeah.
Have you had to change your decision making at all?
Not really. In fact, I said after one of the rounds in Vegas, like, I'm learning that I have new shots, or like I've had the opposite problem. Instead of looking for molds or looking for shots, I'm actually finding like, oh, this does that. That's great. I didn't know that. So it's actually becoming, I guess a good problem. I'm like being like, oh, well, for instance, hole 3 out here, loving my bonsai on that. And that's really a shot I didn't have before. So
Awesome.
More like that.
So then this is more general. You're widely talked about by a lot of the touring players and a lot of the fans, obviously, as one of the hardest working players mentally, physically, and obviously working on your overall game in disc golf. A lot of veteran athletes in solo sports have talked about over the years the way you approach training, the way you approach practice evolves away from just maybe repping shots over
Right.
and over again. A lot of traditional golfers will say they used to rep shots until their hands bled on the driving range, and then
Yeah.
now it changes. Have you experienced something like that? Because I know you still have been working extremely hard. You've stayed very disciplined all these years. What does that look like for you now? Is it different than when you started?
I would say it's different than when I started, because I definitely was the same way. Like, I know, I can think of like when it was a bunch of us just playing under the lights, really, like we'd be exploring multiple rounds, and then we'd be playing like putt after the rounds and like not leaving the course till it was dark. Or so I definitely don't do that now. I have a lot more responsibilities, I feel like. And I also feel as I'm older and as the tours become more of a grind, that rest is really important as well. And that's something I'm working on, is making sure to get a good night's sleep and making sure not to overwork myself. But yeah.
Thank you. That's all I
Yeah.
have.
Hey, Katrina.
Hey.
Hayden with the PDGA. You debuted a new brand a few days ago. So kind of break down that process, what it means, and what goes through your head every time you look at that new logo.
So yeah, like I said, Scott Kesey, I was sponsored by them when I was an amateur, and my first year as a pro on tour. And fast forward 10 years, we just started talking, and we really liked the way we both thought about, you know, the game and the growth and how to do business. And so this is actually more of a partnership, and I have a lot of say in how things work with my discs. And so, yeah, I mean, I just really feel, instead of like a sponsored player, just more a part of the process and the team. So.
Yeah, for your new logo specifically. I mean, what is
Oh,
it?
you're
Yeah.
talking about my logo.
Yeah,
I'm
new
so
logo.
sorry.
Yeah. It's very, very nice, by the way.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted something that was like, you know, I look up to like David Goggins and, you know, like Cameron Haynes and people like that, and they have these really bold logos that like I see it and I think of them, and I wanted people to see it and think of me. And so what it is a combo of a shield and a rose, and the shield talks about being unbreakable, and the rose constant growth. Something I wanted this year was to be like unbreakable, also like unbothered. And then the constant growth is just, as a disc golfer, I always want to see how the new shots I can add or how I can improve in my game, but also off the course, you know, the goal is to be 80 and just be super happy and super peaceful and happy with my life. So just continuing to do that on and off the course. And so, yeah, that's how the logo came together, and I'm really stoked to have a logo with so much meaning behind it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Katrina.
Hi.
Chris with Gatekeeper Media. I love the logo, by the way.
Thank you.
My question is, you've been playing at a high level for a very long time. In the past year, you've had some pretty clutch moments and kept your composure down at the wire.
Yeah.
What type of tip or recommendation would you have for a disc golfer who's competing when they come down to that moment?
For me, it's like I start thinking about like the ice cold showers and the early morning runs and workouts and the hours of improving my game and, you know, always being prepared. And I really just try my hardest to not, I know it sounds crazy, but not think about the result or what could go wrong, and just really trust all that and just realize everyone else is also feeling the pressure, my competitors. And it's like I don't ever want to lose being timid or scared. So just stick in my game and, yeah, just trust all the preparation for sure.
Trust the process. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Katrina, thank you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome back. Questions for Gannon Burr.
Hi, Gannon.
Hey.
I'm Zoe Andike here, and really just stoked to talk to you. First of all, congratulations with Las Vegas Challenge.
Thank you.
First big, huge win in the Pro Tour.
No, but I wish.
Sorry, runner-up. My bad, excuse
That's
me.
all good.
But the pressure of being in that position is leading into my first question. Here we are at one of the most challenging weather and out of bounds, so much character at this course. What is your attack plan to see yourself in that type of situation again, like Las Vegas?
I think just getting off to a hot start, kind of dealing with the conditions tomorrow. I'm hoping for like a 6 down to just get my tournament going, and then hopefully turn it on for the last couple rounds. But I feel comfortable in the wind, just being from Iowa. We have a lot of it, and the cold doesn't bother me too much. Just got to keep my hand warmers on, and I'll be all good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what are the discs that we will see you depending on pretty heavily throughout this weekend?
Yeah, I have some overstable D3s I'll be throwing in a lot of the wind. My X1s are really overstable. I'm really digging the distortion right now. It's kind of a overstable approach putter. Forehand and backhand on any approaches, or in the woods as well for shot shaping. My M4s, my M2s, just nice straight mid-ranges, and just some more flippy discs, like some flippy D2s for shot shaping in the woods.
All right, and that was all about this weekend. For the viewers, I'd like to ask you a couple questions about disc golf in general. How old were you, Gannon, when you first started playing?
I think it was like 9 or 10.
And who introduced you to disc golf?
I technically did myself, but I was watching Brody Smith's trick shot videos on YouTube with his ultimate frisbees and stuff, and we had just moved to a new house, and in our backyard we had a basketball hoop, so I decided I wanted to try them myself. So I went to the store to buy an ultimate frisbee, and I bought a Champion Firebird by accident. And then
Quite different.
I kind of just stuck with it from there because it was more fun than the ultimate frisbee was.
Awesome. Okay, last question. I've heard that back home you've got a couple of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get a chance to do any kind of video check-in with the pups back home while you're on tour?
Yeah, a little bit. One of the dogs is kind of crazy, and but yeah, sometimes FaceTime if my brother's home taking care of him. But yeah.
Very cool. Well, good luck this weekend, and we've got Brian Earhart here next.
Hello, Gannon.
Hey.
A couple questions for you. First off, after that epic battle with Drew, obviously missed about a 35, 40 footer from the sand trap to cost you the tournament, but after an incredible battle, Drew in his interview called you the future of disc golf. That is a pretty big label to put on somebody, but you're 16 years old, and even in a decade, you're going to be younger than me, so pretty safe to say that you're the future of disc golf. But the future of disc golf as a whole for me is looking like Circle 2 and Circle 3 putting now. The range on the top players when it comes to putting is incredible right now, and your putt is displaying that. We watched it at Las Vegas. You hit a lot of really solid long putts. Even from a standing position, you were hitting some beautiful putts. I know a lot of people said that you were modeling your backhand after Will Schustrick. Did you model your putt after anybody, or was that just more trial and error and realizing that you had to get more range?
Yeah, a lot of it was kind of just, I used to have like a weird funky putt, but I don't model it after anybody. Maybe a little bit of eagle, just kind of naturally. That's kind of how I look like when I putt. But I do come down to like my left side, which a lot of people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it allows me to line up my whole upper arm, so that way it takes out my shoulder hinge. It's just an up and down instead of a left to right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, along with just tons of reps and stuff, has kind of led me to be a pretty solid putter. It's definitely something I work on the most, I'd say. Whenever I'm bored, I just go and putt. So I'd say, yeah, just getting lots of reps in and stuff like that, but I don't really model it after anybody.
And then you mentioned to me at, I believe it was the Discraft Great Lakes Open last year, we actually played on the same card together, and you mentioned to me that even at the age of 16, you mentioned that if you didn't push disc golf as hard as you could right now, you felt like you'd be missing out on something. And here you are after a fantastic performance in Vegas. Everyone is really excited about where you're going with disc golf. Is there anything else in a teenager's life right now with all this success that you're having to focus on? Like, where is school for you?
School's kind of annoying right now just because I have to miss a lot of it and then come back and, make it up, like history tests and whatever. That's just kind of frustrating to deal with because I really want to focus on my game. and having that be like almost like a full-time job, you know, going 7 hours a day for 5 days a week, unless I'm missing school, you know, it's not fun, but so that kind of gets in the way of it. But I do my best to stay caught up and just get the work done beforehand or afterwards. That way I can come to these events.
So you're saying you're pretty focused on disc golf right now, and that's looking like the next few years of your life.
Yes, for sure.
Thanks, Gannon.
Thank you.
Hey, Gannon. Hayden with the PDGA.
Yep.
You broke out here a year ago and made a league card. You know, what's it like being back on this property after the year that you had and the start to the 2022 season that you've had?
Yeah, it's pretty magical to be back here, especially it was like my second Pro Tour event ever last year. It's one of my favorite courses on tour as well, and I think it fits my game pretty well if I'm, you know, feeling pretty good about it. You know, it's just it's a happy place for me. I think it's a course that I just have a ton of fun at, and I think that can lead me to shoot some good scores out here.
You know, with all the success and all the hype and all the interviews you've had over the past couple weeks, I mean, how do you kind of temper expectations for yourself and keep it even keel?
Yeah, I think just staying humble and, you know, knowing that I did play good, but it's tough to do that, obviously, every single weekend on the Pro Tour. But I think just, you know, put that in the back of my mind that tournament's over. I just got to, you know, focus on the next tournament, which is this one, and, you know, kind of just play each hole as it goes.
Again, and Chris with Gatekeeper Media. This time last year was the first time we actually saw you on our coverage for Chase Card as well. What part of your game do you think you improved the most in your 2021 touring? And then what part of your game are you looking to improve in this 2022 season?
Yeah, I think what improved the most for me was just my sidearm distance and versatility. I've always had a pretty solid sidearm, but I had like knee surgery a couple years ago, and Waco was one of my first events back after my knee surgery, and it was on my left knee, so it was my plant leg, so I had trouble getting distance. And I probably gained about 100 feet. You know, if I really get on one, I can get one out to 440 right now with like a max distance shot. And it's a super useful technique, especially on tour. You know, being able to throw more overstable stuff on some of the more open holes that have OB instead of having to, you know, work with flippy stuff to get the distance. So that helps a ton. And something I'm working to improve on is definitely just kind of the whole of my game. Consistency, you know, I felt like it was pretty solid last year, but I want to be getting top 10 at every single event or even top 5. So I think I just got to keep grinding on every single aspect of my game. That way I can, you know, finish near the top at every single event.
Hey, Gannon. Raul from MX Disc Golf. So what advice would you give new players right now that are just starting in the game?
I would just say stick to it. It can be kind of frustrating at first with, you know, seeing other people be better than you. I think as long as you focus on your own game and, you know, put in the work to improve, I think that it'll come with time. And I think just realizing that, you know, it's your own game. You don't have to like really copy anyone. Just do your own thing and keep practicing and working hard, and it'll pay off eventually.
Gannon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Questions for Paige Pierce.
Hi, Paige.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Good to be back in Texas.
And when did you arrive back in Waco?
Actually, late last night. Motorcycles here.
Yep.
Late last night, yeah, my family actually came down to Pensacola to visit, so got the family time in, and then now we pretty much caravanned here back towards Waco, and yeah, just arrived late last night, so I got on the course at 7 a.m. so I could get a couple rounds in, maybe go hit another few 9 after this.
Wow. Well, you kind of started to answer my next question. We know you took the last weekend off. Obviously, you went home, got to spend some time with family. Back out here, did you just say that the family has followed you to come to this event?
They're at home right now. My brother missed a couple days of school, so they're back in Plano, but they'll be out here this weekend, and yeah, got some VIP passes for them, and hopefully they enjoy the show and how much disc golf's grown. I know, like before, they could just come watch my card, you know, be right beside me, but now having to get them passes and stuff, I think they're going to enjoy how big of a show it is now.
Absolutely. And we spoke with Jeff Spring a little bit earlier about those tightened up regulations, so it's very cool that you got that for your family. Moving into thinking about playing disc golf in Texas. This is where you're from. This is where it all started. You've been a champion here. You've placed highly. What's the game plan this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of just said, like, everything that I'm feeling right now is just like excitement to be back at Waco. I have so many memories of myself here, like as a 12-year-old, and you know, just all the familiar faces I'm going to see this week, all the friendly Texans, and just you know, this is where I started to play disc golf. This is where I realized, you know, this isn't just like a fun little game I play on weekends and, you know, school gets out and let's go play Frisbee. Like, this is where it kind of became reality that this could be a career. You know, I'm starting to surpass Des Redding, and she's patting me on the back telling me all these compliments. So it's just a really cool feeling to be back here every year, and you know, a lot of memories.
Very cool. And we know Des is actually out here this weekend, so it would be special to see you carded up with her. Last question before I pass it off. What's on the menu for a champion's breakfast before your tournament's round?
For me, I'm actually working with a company called Oats Overnight right now, and that's been my go-to. Just pour some almond milk and some oats in a thing, put it in the fridge, and ready to go in the morning. That way, give you 10 extra minutes of sleep, not have to get anything ready. But if I'm not eating those, I'm pretty much eating just like a smoothie or drinking a smoothie. For me, especially with the early morning rounds, it's hard to digest food, like to chew it, sit there and chew it. So it's nice to just have something drinkable on the go with me during the round, so I don't have to rush it in, and make sure you get warmed up and get your body ready. So for me, that's what I'm going with, and then big meal after the round.
Awesome. Best of luck this weekend, and here's Brian Earhart.
Thank you.
Hello, Paige.
Hello.
Got a couple questions for you. First, I have to say congratulations on everything. You got a house in Pensacola. You're finally setting roots in a place. And weirdly enough, you're in Central Time Zone in Florida, which is strange. But with that, you have this home base now, and now you're coming back on the road, and you're playing the full tour again. Does it make it easier for you to play these tour events now that you have a home base to go back to, or was it easier for you when you were just in the van, traveling from event to event, living wherever you were at?
You know, I think I'll be able to tell you a little bit more of that later. This would be the first experience of that, right? But I definitely, so after Vegas, I flew home, and I got to decompress for 8 days, you know, unpack my suitcase, 6 days later, pack it up again. And, you know, it was so nice to just like not have that worry of like, where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to go to the restroom? Like, oh, how do I, you know, get my mail? Stuff like that. Like, where do I throw my trash away? You know, the little things that you don't think about. You know, someone comes and picks my trash up, and the water's ever flowing. So it's definitely a lot less stressful to go back home. And then also like, okay, now I only have to pack for 3 weeks. But I did have this feeling last night. Like I said to Zoe, I got here last night, just laying in the van, pulling into the parking lot, seeing all the van lifers, and laying down in the van and like, man, it's good to be back, you know? And so not just coming back and playing tournaments, but living the lifestyle of a disc golfer. So it's cool because now I have the best of both worlds, right? So it's kind of like this on-off switch of between tournaments, you know, trying to not make disc golf my entire being, and just having that moment to live the other side of Paige.
Yeah. So then alongside of that question, you're saying there's kind of a difference now. You used to live the life of a disc golfer on the road in the van. Now you have a house. You're kind of more just professional athlete Paige now. You're flying out to different events. What keeps you centered out here now? You know, your life has had so many awesome things come your way, and obviously you've earned them through how hard you've worked. What keeps you motivated and competitive in these tournaments? Do you still get the same great feeling of winning that you did years ago?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's making sure I'm playing the tournaments that fire me up. So for me, I'm not playing A tiers, B tiers. I started to just play Elite Series events and majors. Those are the ones that hold the most prestige. So, and I feel that, not just because of the title or the money or the fans or whatever, but I feel that, and something about it, maybe it's the culmination of all of those things together, but yeah, that's what gets my heart beating. And it's so funny that, like, nothing does that to me like disc golf. And so for me, I'm making sure it's an event that makes me feel those feelings. And yeah, I think it's hard to really put words to it. It's just the way that I feel when I step up. I know my tee time's in 45 minutes. Okay, I got to get a few more putts in, you know, that anxious feeling, but it's like a good anxious feeling.
Thanks, Paige.
Yeah.
Hey, Paige. Hayden with the PDGA. It's tough to follow Brian Earhart and his questioning, but talk a little bit about the podcast that you've launched recently. You know, what's the goal there? What's been the feedback so far, and where do you see that going?
Yeah, thanks for asking. This is the first time I've actually talked about it. Yeah, it's called Approachable. It's with Jomas Pro. Actually, an episode featuring Zoe came out today. And basically, it's a podcast for everyone, right? Not just the pro player. We know there's a lot of podcasts inside disc golf that are like, hey, Gannon Burr, we saw some success from you last week. Tell us what the keys were. And there's so much more to disc golf than winning or, you know, having a good tournament. So we wanted to bring a vibe of approachable, says it, you know, like disc golfers are approachable. You go up to a disc golf course and you know everyone's going to greet you with a smile. And funny enough, like on the road trip, it's like, okay, where can we walk our dog? Disc golf course, you know, that's home, that's safety, that's community. And so we wanted to channel that in the podcast and interview people that may not have won any tournaments ever, may not even play in tournaments, but they are inside the community, and kind of show people that, hey, just because maybe you're not as good as your husband or your mom is better than you as a kid, like, it doesn't matter. There's a place for you in the sport.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Paige. Chris with Gatekeeper Media. I have one question. I feel like I've been asking this all last year, now this year. Your trailer for Fierce came out a month or two ago. What's kind of the next steps in that? When will we see that? Is it in festivals? And just kind of what's going on with that documentary?
So it's completely finished. All the rendering and the Q something. I don't know all the technical terms, but my producer said everything is completely done now, and now it's kind of just waiting on somebody to buy it. So, you know, we put over 6 figures into the film, and so now it's hopefully maybe we make that money back, but more importantly, it's not about the money. It's about, okay, they're buying the rights to the film so that they can put it on their platform. So that's now the step. We've had a few meetings with Netflix. We're on our 3rd meeting now. So, you know, it's trying to gain interest. And I think the way that we can do it as a team, as a community of disc golfers, is to continue to watch the trailer and share the trailer. And so that way, when we do show it to Netflix in the fourth meeting, then it's like, hey, it's already has 2 million views. The trailer has 2 million views. Like, people want to watch this on your platform. So I think that's the best way. And so, yeah, right now it's just getting someone that is interested to put it on there.
Awesome. As a fellow filmmaker, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Wow,
Paige.
so many people, so many questions. This is great. I haven't even talked about disc golf yet. Bring me one of those.
So, I'm Raul from MX Disc Golf, and we've seen a few of the men players have some kind of foundation or something and build some courses down in Latin America, and I was wondering if you have any plans of doing that yourself.
I am working on a foundation, but it's not going to be disc golf related, actually. So, well, let me rephrase that. It's not going to be to grow disc golf. The way that I will fund the foundation is through disc golf, but yeah, for me, I don't want to build a course or do this. Disc golf has definitely brought me joy, and it will continue to bring the people I work with joy, but for me, it's just more of helping people in need, and the reason you haven't seen it yet is because I'm not, like, you need such a concise thing, like a mission statement, and I don't quite have that yet, but I know I want to help, you know, just people in need, homeless people, like people with disabilities, like any and everyone. So trying to figure out how to make that into one concise thing is the step we're on now. But yeah, we're working on all the like logistics and the back end stuff.
Paige, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, questions for Kale?
Hi, Kale.
Hi, Zoe.
With the Disc Golf Network here to kick things off with your press conference. First of all, it's so exciting to see your name on so many registration lists for tour this year. What is it like touring in a Tesla?
That's a good question. I honestly don't think I would choose anything else. It's a very peaceful drive, and like a lot of people ask about like, you know, the charging stations like that and how difficult it is, but I feel like it actually breaks up the drive a little bit for me when I have to like stop for a half hour and charge and get out and stretch and stuff. So I've been really loving it.
Yeah, I think that some of the bigger questions is it too difficult to find enough charging stations? But it almost seems like it's a social kind of Tesla community to do that.
It really is, yeah. If I'm staying on the freeways, there's no issues whatsoever. Every once in a while, if I try to get off the beaten path a little bit and go to like a national park or something, I could run into some issues. But yeah, they're doing a good job of upping the network every day.
Very cool. Well, getting into more disc golf-y topics, you've recently designed and come out with a new disc. And am I right when it's called the Falcor?
The Falcor, yeah.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So this is like something I've wanted to happen for, I mean, we're talking literally like 5 years now. I've been kind of asking Prodigy if they'll help me with the design and creating my own mold. And, you know, things have been pretty busy with the company and stuff and the growth of disc golf booming. I was kind of put on the back burner for a couple years, but like within the last like 12 months, we've been really going hard and coming up with some prototypes, some designs, and doing some tweaks. A lot of testing and letting my friends throw it forehand because I clearly do not throw forehand at all, but just kind of like seeing how it works for different people. And we were finally confident to run it into production like at the end of last winter. So we kind of got everything geared up, and within the last like 2 months we started like making them all, and then they actually just went on sale to people officially today. So it's a very exciting time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's huge.
Thank you.
What speed is it?
It's like between 12, 13 speed. I think for me it's very fast. It's overstable, but you know, I don't have like as much arm speed as a lot of like the top arms on tour. So for me, it's got like plenty of overstability that I need to like have for tournament use and stuff. But a lot of glide and very useful. And it seems like a lot of the people that have been testing it out lately have been liking it too. So it's been fun to watch.
Great. Well, I'm going to let the rest of the disc golf questions pertaining to the tournament come from our next guest. So here's Brian Earhart. Thank you, Kale, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Kale.
Hey, buddy. How's it going, Bri?
Good.
All right.
Got a couple questions for you. You've never gotten worse than third at this event. So pretty good. You got second 1 year. You got third 1 year. What is it going to take for you to clean up to get first place?
You know, maybe you know, I honestly thought I had it last year. You know, when I think about how that final round went, when I was like, you know, I think I was like 5 or 6 strokes back early into the final round, and I kind of started putting some heat on Nico in that final round and making him sweat a little bit, and I started getting pretty much birdieing everything on the way in. And yeah, I think if it wasn't for a pretty fortunate break for Nico staying in bounds on hole 17, I could have had it. But I feel really confident here. I love the balance of the open holes and the wooded holes. Like, that's just, as a course designer, that's something I appreciate really very much, having that balance. So it's a course that I vibe with. I like being here. For some reason, I've always like played pretty well in Texas, and I just I think that if I can get my putting going, which has been off a little bit the last couple of weeks, that I can make a good run at it.
You made a great note about this course: 9 holes in the open, 9 holes in the woods, perfect balance. A lot of people gave you the nickname here, Dr. Smooth, from how precise you are managing the wooded fairways. But I've seen some sneaky distance come out of you. Are there any holes out here that you might surprise some people with more aggressive play?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but unfortunately, I don't think so. You know, like, we got a couple of these longer, or like I should say shorter par 4s that some people are going for. And I feel like if the wind's up and stuff, it's really easy to get in trouble. And I feel like if I birdie all those shorter par 4s all weekend, that I won't be losing strokes overall. So unfortunately, I'll probably be playing it pretty safe on those. But on 17, that's a hole that I love to get aggressive on the upshot. I feel like the laying up on your second shot can be so tough. So I just figure pretty much no matter where I am on the drive, even if I don't get to a good spot, I still always go for that basket on the second shot. But yeah, as far as the distance, I appreciate you saying that. But unless I have to go for it on 18 like I did last year and go for the basket and the wind feels good, then I'll do it. But otherwise, I like the 3 play on that one too.
So it's safe to say that no world's distance title for you this year?
You know, I mean, next year I'll be in the MP40 division, so maybe I could work at a Masters distance title. But man, after playing in Vegas and getting outdriven on every single hole by these kids, it's very impressive what the skill level has reached. And no, I will not be winning any distance titles soon.
I'll be waiting for you to jump up to the Masters division then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kale.
All right, buddy.
Hey, Kale. Hayden with the PGA. Such an impressive streak. You know, that came to an end. It's going to be hard to top. But what does that say to you, and you kind of just hinted on it, about the state of professional disc golf right now?
Wow. I mean, Nate's like, what, 50 events away from the number that I was at, and, you know, he doesn't play a full touring schedule anymore. I think, you know, it's going to be a tough thing for people to reach. I mean, the skill level is unbelievable these days. I feel like, you know, I'm a big golf fan, so when I watch the PGA Tour, you know, you see some people come out and get a win one week, and they might miss the cut the next week because the parity is so strong. And I feel like we're like, you know, in the last 2 years, we've taken huge leaps in the skill level in the fields. Like, you know, we just opened up the Preserve Championship registration, and it filled right away with 1,000+ rated players. You know, I think, you know, potentially in a couple years, that threshold is going to be raised to about 10, 20 is going to be the threshold for MPO players. So, you know, I was fortunate enough to like start that streak in 2008 before the competition was this strong. But yeah, I mean, I'm proud to have kept it going for as long as I could. But I'm hoping that it'll kind of free me up mentally a little bit to play more aggressive and not worry about it so much, because I definitely was something that was on my mind a lot.
Gotcha. Thank you, Kel.
Yeah.
What's up, Cal? Chris with Gatekeeper Media. To go off of that streak a little bit, kind of what went through your mind the moment you knew that was broken?
Man,
let us know, because I know it was tough, because we all stopped and felt for you.
Well, I appreciate that. It was, I mean, utter devastation. Like, it was so unfamiliar. You know, I gotten kind of take it for granted for the last like 15 years, going to tournaments and making cuts and stuff. And when I realized it was over, it kind of just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, you know, like the longevity of it and how much stuff had to go right for so long. It was definitely painful when it happened, but after like a day or two of reflection, I truly felt like a little bit of weight was lifted off of me. So, and then last week in Arizona, I honestly felt like no pressure whatsoever, which was kind of different, you know, and I was able to just like play a little more free. But yeah, in the moment there, it definitely hurt a lot for sure.
Thank you, Ken. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll open it up to questions.
Hello, Own.
Hello.
It's good to see you today. How are you doing?
Good. Fantastic.
How does it feel being out here back in Texas?
Wow, the weather is kind of pretty crazy, but I'm glad we have a nice day today and hopefully not too bad tomorrow. So
yeah. So touring so far this year, first of all, it's great to see your name on so many tournament registrations. Are you touring with your husband, Justin, or is it kind of a mix of both? Solo?
Mix.
Okay.
Mix, because if whatever time he can come with me, I would love to have him. But if he too busy back home and then he have to go home and I tour by myself or maybe just tour with my other girlfriend out here. So yeah, I just love to have him as much as he can come with me. So
absolutely, we've seen him out there supporting you and caddying for you.
He's amazing.
All right, well, let's talk about Waco Charity here at the Beast. You've been runner-up at this event. You've played very, very well in Texas. What's the big game plan for this weekend?
I try to, like I said, like everybody said, maybe most of us try to hit the gap. That's my big problem because from we touring Las Vegas, it's big gap, and I play Memorial, big gap, and then I come here, I was like, oh, this is pretty narrow. But that's why I work hard on. I play 2 rounds, so when I go to the wood hole, I try to throw a lot, just try to hit the gap and try to get used to it. But I feel like still not enough yet. I give myself probably 65% hit the gap. That's why after even today we talking, I'll go back to just play the 9 hole maybe again and again and just try to. I feel like if I hit those gaps, I can make a better score this year also. So we'll see.
Awesome. So it sounds like a bigger focus on believing in yourself in the woods.
Yeah, hit
sure.
the gap. Whatever you do.
And lots of practice. We heard
Yeah.
Paige Pierce earlier talking about how she'd played 2 rounds and ready for maybe 9 more. So
yeah.
great job. And then what discs are we going to see you relying on heavily this weekend to get you up these fairways and through those gaps?
Well, I have, hopefully no one make fun of me. I have DX Destroy, crazy flip. Yeah, because I like to throw in the flippy. I can throw high set and then it will flip and go straight. And then my leopard 3 is good with the wood. And then turn, I can throw a side arm turn and go more straight. And then hook right the end, and then destroy in the headwind. Maybe some road runner.
Okay.
Man, so many discs. I'm like open player. I throw everything is working for me. But those probably the main thing I wanna use for this weekend.
Well, best of luck this weekend, and I'm going to pass it off to Brian Earhart.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Owen.
Hey, what up?
Not a whole lot. Got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
You played 38 tournaments last year.
Really, man? That's a lot.
You're telling me that is a
Yep.
lot of tournaments, and
That's
there's
a
a lot of players on the tour, especially that are backing off playing that many tournaments for numerous reasons. Whether it's burnout halfway through the season, playing too many tournaments, not taking the rest of them seriously, or injury, other things like that. But you look like you're signed up for quite a few tournaments this year as well to repeat what you did last year. Have you felt any of that burnout so far? I mean, now you're on the road full time playing the tour. What keeps you going through these tournaments week to week?
I'm kind of person, I have a lot of energy when I growing up, so even I'm so tired on the road driving or practice hard, but that energy just keep me going. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm turned 41, but I feel like my body is still like, oh, and you still like 25, let's go, But also I think eat healthy and having fun and have a good friend to practice with is helped me keep going a lot, and good partner, and like I said, just try to eat healthy and hang out with the good people. So that's why I feel like I'm just let's go. So much energy right here. Come on. I mean, I feel bad for those who like burning out because I done that before so many years ago. Sometimes it's happening, you know, and then if it's that happening, it's good to step back and then come back out when you get ready. But so far, I just feel like burning good, not burning down, you know, burning out.
Yeah, it's burning out.
Yep, yeah.
Excellent. So good luck this week.
Thank you.
You got second last year. Hopefully we can make that a number one this time. Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, Owen. Chris with
Hey.
Gatekeeper Media.
Yeah.
Quick question. Stats show that you're one of the best putters in the world. What part of your game have you worked on this off season that you're looking to excel in 2022?
Man. About putting?
No, other parts of your game. So
Oh,
distance, shot shaping.
Yes,
anything
I
like
try to throw side arm mid range. I'm very bad about those shots, but I try to do side arm mid range, and then maybe try to change my form a little bit. So far, still not freaking not done yet, not perfect yet. But I have a hope. I have a hope someday. But as long as I keep working on it, someday you guys gonna see me like a side arm mid range, perfectly hit the gap, or maybe throw a little further. And then also I try to learn backhand roll. Yeah, I try to learn backhand roll. So far, to the right, to the wrap, not straight yet, but come on, right? If you're working hard on, I think I'm gonna, you know, park somehow someday. Yep. That's it.
Thank you, Ode. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back. Paul Macbeth joins us next. Paul, thanks for joining us. Questions for Paul Macbeth?
Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Zoe here with the Disc Golf Network. How does it feel to be back in Texas?
Well, it's been an adventure to get here, but it feels good. I mean, it's I can't complain about the weather today. I'll leave it there.
Can I ask a little bit about the adventure getting here?
Well, just like driving from Virginia, from Virginia here to drop my RV off before going to Scottsdale, and drove through ice storms, snowstorms, hailstorms, all the above. So it was an adventure, but we made it with about 6 hours before our flight left the next day. So it was.
Wow.
It's been a good one.
Boom, boom, the grind.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your win last weekend at the Memorial. Coming off that always feels good to come in with a win to the next big event. And you've placed well here in Waco. Is there anything that you plan to change from previous year's game plans for the course?
Every year I feel like it's a little different. You know, my games, I'm working on a few things here, a few things there. So if I can do the things I've done throughout my career and then add a few new things, I think that's going to be key here. I feel like it's a little bit less forehand this year, and I don't know if it's because they've kind of cleared the rough up a little bit or things like that. It seems like I'm throwing a lot more backhands than I have in previous years. But, you know, just with that in mind, I think it's just kind of playing to what the elements are. You know, it looks like tomorrow is going to be pretty rough, and the wind's going to be shifted. And today it was really windy, but now it's like almost calm. So gotten, you know, a whole variety of weather so far here. But no, just game plan's the same. Just don't go OB and try to get as many birdies as possible.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing those thoughts about the course. I'm going to hand it off to Brian Earhart.
Hello, Paul.
Hello, Brian.
Couple questions for you. I know you had mentioned to me last year that mids and fairways are kind of your favorite discs to be throwing. And I know last year you were throwing, either last year or the year before, you were throwing one of those jawbreaker wasps, those really flippy jawbreaker wasps. Can we expect you to have anything special in your bag for this week?
Yeah, I guess I threw them a little bit last year, so I have some ESP Reapers, so nice little fairway drivers out here. I can throw those backhand, forehand. And then I have CT wasps this year. I do have one jawbreaker, but more so the CT. They kind of last a little bit longer than the jawbreaker, but yeah, whipping those around this course a little bit, as well as obviously the buzz. So.
For the fans that are newer to disc golf, they probably have never seen a Reaper before. What kind of disc was the Reaper designed to be when it came out?
From what I hear, I wasn't playing at the time, as it came out around when Innova came out, the T-Bird or like the Eagle. So I think it was kind of based around those two discs. I don't know the full story, but yeah, it's kind of just a fairway driver, more like that 7-speed, and just very controllable. But what I really like is I can throw it forehand and trust it.
Yeah, I see. Last week at the Memorial, you were battling with Anthony Barella, and I know there was an infamous screenshot from a text conversation that was shared around the internet quite a bit. Sounds like if Anthony Barella beats you at any point this season, you told him that you would give him a BMW. Is that correct?
Well, close, but not necessarily like that. So we always trash talk back and forth, just keep it fun. And he said I won't beat him at all this year. So I said, if I don't beat you at all, you can have Hannah's BMW. So I put Hannah's BMW on the line. I probably could have put something else on the line, but I just thought it was funnier to put Hannah's car on the line. So
now the final stretch of that course at Vista del Camino was kind of a tight race. At one point, you were within 1 or 2 strokes of each other.
Tied.
Yeah. Oh, at one point you were tied. Did that ever come into your mind that you were about to lose to Anthony and you were never going to live it down?
No, I don't think I ever had the thought that I was going to lose, but I thought this was getting way closer than I wanted. You know, it is fun battling with him. But I felt like there was a lot of people that were playing really well. Aaron was playing well. Adam wasn't playing. He started out really well, and then he slowed down. But I was like, man, any one of these players can catch me right now. But AB did in that moment. And so I was kind of just like, I need to get on my horse and continue my round, get some birdies here soon, or I could be in trouble. But, yeah, so it was fun to kind of rub it in his face after the tournament.
Yeah, live to see another day. One last question for you. I asked this to Paige as well. You both of you have been winning for a long time and been very successful at this game for a long time, and now life looks just a lot different for you than it did a decade ago. Does winning still feel the same way for you that it did 10 years ago?
I think the biggest thing for me is more so I think winning's great. I love, going out in tournaments, but I love pushing myself more than anything, more than the winning. I love going out and playing a tournament and being happy about it and just being like, all right, I played to my potential, or I exceeded what I thought my potentials were. I think that's a lot more fun right now than going out and winning every tournament, or at least that's the goal, is to win every tournament, because I feel like my skills, and if I play my A game, it's going to be anyone's A game. So that's kind of where I am mentally. So, it is golf. So it's always that story of you're battling yourself, you're battling the course. So I feel like that's kind of where my game is I want to be better than everyone else, and that's my mindset is that I am.
Cool. Well, good luck, man.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Hey, Paul. Hayden with the PDGA. What is it about a tournament like the Memorial that's been going on since the 80s for you to keep going back to year in and year out and get your season going?
I feel like that one fits well to as the tour starts. We're here in Texas, very similar type of, the terrain's very similar than something like Vista del Camino. You got the water elements similar to Fountain, so I think it's a great one to lead into the season. It's not a huge course. You kind of like walk into the season instead of full sprint. That's kind of why I like playing it, and I grew up in Southern California, so that was about 6 hours from my house. So that was kind of as far as I used to go back in the day and play a tournament and just drive home, drive there, drive back. So it's just always one that's fun. It's got some history to it, and I don't know. I just like going out there and playing that one.
What can fans expect from the 2022 season just overall?
Just continue to improve Paul. I want to continue to improve and get better each year, and maybe dump a little bit more emotion into the season. You know, hopefully more positive emotion than negative.
Gotcha. Thank you, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Paul, Chris with Gatekeeper Media. One quick question. When you're making that long drive from Virginia down here through snowstorms, what do you listen to? Music,
Listen
podcast?
to?
Yeah.
Both. Music, podcasts. I mean, it's hard to stick on one for about 24 hours of driving, especially in the RV. You think it's a 16-hour drive, it turns into 24, 26. So both. You know, I listen to disc golf podcasts. I'll listen to music, and you kind of go through almost every genre possible in that amount of time.
Is there any specific artists or genres you listen to before your rounds or anything like that?
There's a couple. It'd be hard to list kind of a playlist because it's all over the place. But probably the one that's most common is probably like NF and his music. It's more like a hip hop and stuff like that. But to be honest, it's all over the place.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hola Paul, Raúl de MX Disc Golf. Primero te queremos preguntar, todos los de Latinoamérica, ¿qué es lo que ha llevado a que tus campos en México, Colombia y Guatemala sean tan exitosos? So what we want to know in Latin America is what has made your courses down in Mexico, Colombia, and Guatemala so successful?
I think the team with the Paul Macbeth Foundation is incredible. I think the way that we're able to filter through a lot of these bids, I guess, essentially to find sustainable places in disc golf, and then just when we are able to go down there, just being able to not teach it, but just introduce disc golf to a lot of people, and just show the joy and fun and opportunities that disc golf can present. And then I think we've just been very fortunate with the groups that we've met down there, because they've taken it head on, and they've just like Mexico, for example, down there in La Paz, like they have, I don't know if it's a club yet, but they have Instagram accounts. They're trying to run leagues. They're all about it. I think they're playing tournaments now. Like, we've just been very fortunate with the groups that we've met down in these countries, that the leaders and the people there are just so heavily involved in disc golf, enjoying disc golf, and actually teaching disc golf now. You know, we introduce it, now they're teaching it to the schools, the kids around town, you know, the town itself, and it's been incredible. And I'm grateful to be in this position and be able to go on these trips so far. I know it's something we want to continue doing, and hopefully we can hit some more countries down there in Latin America.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Evelina, thank you for joining us. We'll open up for questions.
Hi, Evelina. Welcome back to Waco, Texas.
Thank you.
We know you've been here before. You've placed very well. You've won this event. How does it feel to be back in Texas?
It feels great. I like this course, and I think wooded courses are better to me, so I'm happy to be back.
Oh, very cool. And so let's just get right into the course talk. To get through the woods, what's the game plan? There's some pretty tight gaps out there. Do you disc down? Do you use different discs?
No, I have my same discs, but yeah, it's normal to us because in Finland we have almost only wooded courses, so it's normal.
Feels a bit like home?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. And any advice for the players out there watching? What inspires you to keep the competition mindset and keep it cool when you're on top card and in big pressure situation?
I don't know, because it's like playing practice around with friends, so it's normal, and I have played so many tournaments, so I'm used to it. So.
All right. And you were in Arizona last weekend?
Yeah.
Coming off of the event. Do you feel prepared, or is there any specific focus for this weekend's tournament?
Not really. Last week I lost my putting confidence, so I want to make some putts here. That's important to me.
Absolutely. It's going to come back for sure. All right, well, before I pass it off, we've got some fun ones. What is for breakfast on a tournament morning for Evelina?
Porridge.
Just plain?
Porridge.
Just
like.
Yeah. Nothing in it?
No.
Okay. And what is the athlete's dinner?
I like chipotle, chicken and rice.
Awesome. Very healthy choices. All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck. We want to see you on that podium. And here's Brian Earhart with the next question.
Hello, Evelina.
Hello.
I have a question for you. I have been to Finland personally, and I've played courses like Tampere, and I've played Nokia, and I love the course design in Finland. I come back here, and the courses are very different in the United States. Do you think this course would fit in Finland on the Finnish Pro Tour? Or do you think?
Sure. Yeah, and this is not like too easy course, so absolutely, yes.
What courses are your favorite in Finland to play? Is there anything that our viewers from the United States can go online and watch footage of?
I think Tampere Disc Golf Center, that's our newest one, but it's most beautiful and most difficult course there.
And also, I had talked to Seppo Paju a couple years ago, and he said in Finland, at least when I talked to him, it was very difficult to be a professional disc golfer in Finland. Is that changing, or is it something where you'd have to move to the United States to make a really good living?
It's getting better, but I think our payout is so small there compared here, so we have to play US tournaments.
Is there any chance that you, if you get the right opportunity, would move to the United States?
Maybe, let's see. But I want to keep Finland also, so not whole year here.
Thank you, Evelina.
Thank you.
Hey, Evelina. It's Raul from MX Disc Golf. I was going to ask you about your travel here. I know you have limited space in your luggage. So how many discs were you able to travel with here?
I have my bag and maybe 20 backup discs.
Okay. And how's that fit in your luggage?
We have a little bit problems because it's only one luggage and we need so much clothes here, so it's difficult, but I'm so glad that we have Innova here in USA, so if we need any discs or stuff there, we can get them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evelina, thank you. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
welcome back. Questions for Kristen?
Hi, Kristen. Welcome to Texas.
Hi, happy to be here.
And have you played in the Waco Charity Open before?
No, that's my first time here. Yep.
And have you had a chance to get a good amount of practice in for this weekend?
Yes. We've played every day since we got here, and I'm loving the course. It's been very fun.
And you couldn't have been here for too long because you were at the Memorial just shredding last weekend. Congratulations. Do you think that coming off of that win is going to help fuel the fire for this weekend?
Well, of course. It's always good to have a win. It builds up your confidence. So yeah, of course, I took a lot from that competition with me. So yeah, I'm ready for this weekend.
And there's a lot of tight woods, but I feel like courses back home might compare a little more to those tighter wooded holes.
Yes, lots of putter shots and mid-range shots. So that's what I did a whole winter. So hopefully it works out. And yeah, I'm ready to be accurate.
Awesome. And I've asked this of a few of our other players. It's been interesting for the viewers. What is on the breakfast menu before a champions round?
It's usually like an oatmeal or scrambled eggs. So we'll see, maybe both, like different days, different breakfasts.
Awesome. Well, good luck this weekend. And here's Brian Earhart.
Hello, Kristen.
Hey.
So this course is very versatile. There's 9 holes out in the open, 9 holes in the woods. We have some water, we have some OB, lots of different types of holes out here. Which of your strengths do you feel like comes out the most when you're playing this course, at least in the practice rounds that you've seen so far?
Yeah, well, I'm throwing a lot of forehands here, and I feel like this is one of my strengths. And yeah, I think just the forehand shots will be my strength.
Now,
yeah.
The biggest thing that's popped out to me is I really like the way you shape the backhand. You know, a lot of different hyzer flip lines.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of different answers to different shapes with the backhand. Is a forehand something that you've always had, or is that the thing that you've had to work on the most to develop over time?
Well, I started out as a forehand player, but then I developed a backhand. And then at one point I came back to the forehand because when you learn a different thing, you start to use it more, and then you kind of forgot the other skill. But now I feel that both of them are at the same level. So I feel very comfortable.
So you're saying that your skill set is about as rounded as it's been in a long time?
Yes.
Excellent. Last question I have is a more general question. I know you and Silver over in Estonia run what's called DG Academy. So could you give me some more details on what that is for the American viewers, and then also what happens to DG Academy when you both come over here?
So DG Academy is something that we developed I'd say 5 years ago. There were a lot of people interested in having weekly practices, and this is what we came up with. We're the trainers there, help people out with their skills and give them tips. But typically when we're touring, there's nobody really doing stuff there. So we still have to figure that out to fill in the gaps. Yep.
Excellent. So there is more growth in the future to bring other people in other than you and
Yes.
Silver.
Yes,
Excellent.
definitely.
Well, good luck this week. That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Hello, Kristen. Chris with Gatekeeper Media. When you finish your final practice round before a tournament, what does a day in the life look like that night and that morning leading up to that first throw of the tournament?
Well, just having fun, not thinking about disc golf, get your thoughts somewhere else, and don't stress too much, because if you start thinking too much, I think it's gonna ruin your round.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Welcome back. Questions for Valerie.
Hi, Valerie.
Hello.
Welcome back to Texas. You've played here many, many times. You probably know this course very, very well.
I mean, I live in San Antonio, but I don't do the drive as often as I think people think. I probably come up here 2 to 3 days prior to the tournament.
Okay. Very cool. Well, before we get into tournament talk, congratulations on a new sponsorship this year. Can you tell the viewers here who you're with and favorite discs?
Yes. I will be representing Dynamic Disc this year, so super excited for that. Some of my favorite discs right now, like a fairway, is the Maverick. I'm really loving that. I have 2 in my bag. Drivers, I'd say Trespass and Sheriff. As in throwing putter, I like the Gold Line Pier, super nice. And then as in putting putters, Judge, but the burst plastic I really love.
Very, very cool. And you've only had just a couple months, if even, to practice with those discs. Knowing that the extreme conditions here can just change daily, what will you be leaning most heavily on out here on the course?
So I have a Sheriff and a Chameleon plastic, and that's really overstable for me. So I think that will be one of my main drivers, and a Ballista Pro. Yeah, I think those 2 should do the job. If not, then I have an Escape that should cover most parts of the course.
All right. And for support, touring this year, will you be with family again?
I will be touring with Alexis and then my fiance now, Mason. My dad will be coming for some of the swing, somewhat of it. He's going to pick and choose more or less. And then my mom won't be coming, sadly.
And what does that mean to have that kind of support with you live at the events?
It means a lot to me. I mean, my mom, I'm pretty close to my mom. So whenever I'm having a bad day or, something's off, I look to her for advice, and she's probably one of the reasons why I'm touring now is just because a lot of times I kind of felt like, well, is this something I really want to do? Disc golf can be really hard at times. And then she's really the tough one on me, where she's like, in a good way, I didn't raise you that way. You're tough. Come on, you can do this. Don't ever, back down from a challenge when it's hard. And, she'll give me those talks in the daily when I see her, whenever I'm telling her, like, I'm stressed out. And this is something I don't want to do. And it's not only disc golf, it's just anything in life. So for her to be there is huge. So it's going to be sad to see her not there this year.
Wow. Thank you for sharing with all of us. I think we can all take a little bit of snippets of being tough from that.
Yeah.
One last question before I pass it off. Do you have a personal focus, whether it be a skill or for your finish this weekend?
I think I always have a thought of what I want to improve on, or I guess what I'm leaning on this event. So, like, I just always have this routine now I build up. It's like for putting, I have like 3 points in it. Driving, same thing, forehand. As this tournament, as in like placing, I'm not sure. I just really want to see where I stand this year compared to last year.
Very cool. Well, good luck this weekend, and here's Brian Earhart.
Thank you.
Hello, Valerie.
Hello.
A couple questions for you. Coming into this season, you got a new sponsor, new bag of discs. What did practice look like for you? Obviously, you have lofty goals. You're going on tour with Mason and Alexis now. All 3 of you are trying to be the best players you can possibly be. What did it look like for you this season? What were you working on?
I think I was working more on distance and accuracy when it came to backhand, just because last year I felt like I used to be a real consistent player until I toured, where I was trying to fit distance into my throw at the wrong time. So it made me struggle a little bit on hitting lines. And on the off season, it was just combining both of them. My goal was just to be consistent, but also pick up on a little bit more distance. And it was also hard throwing in like the new plastic at the same time, because then I was juggling 2 things. But I think we made it work for the most part. Like, we set routines and we're like, okay, I need to go to the field here, and then. And that's what we did. We learned disc, and, Mason had a huge part in learning disc, because he picks up learning stuff so fast. And he learned like a lineup for me, and he's like, all right, this is what I think is close to whatever you feel comfortable with. If you don't, let's change some things. And he's the type of person that he wants to rotate and find the perfect disc for that one slot. And so whenever I thought I found the perfect disc for one slot, he was like, no, I think we can find something better and closer. So it was really good.
Excellent. Well, to go off of that, so much of the chatter amongst new players online or amateur players is, how do I get more distance? And when you talk to a professional player who has pretty solid technique, how are you going about adding distance? Is it more going to the field, trial and error, just learning how to throw faster and keep the balance, or are you actually making form changes at this point in your career?
I think a little bit of the first answer and the last is I went to the field quite a bit, and I feel like that's the perfect zone to actually learn distance or even learn a new throw. I think distance is form and timing and accuracy all at once. The field is going to be perfect because you're not going to have any high expectations for yourself to hit a gap. And you go to a course and try to learn distance, and that's what's in your mind is trying to hit this gap rather than distance.
Exactly.
So at least going to a field, you can throw as far as you want or as hard as possible. And when it comes to form, I felt like one thing I wasn't doing is getting my hips in with my arm at the same time. I wasn't quite exploding at the end, and that is one thing I'm learning to do now, and I feel like that's a huge part in distance.
Excellent. Good luck this week.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Valerie. Chris with Gatekeeper Media. You have a 100% win rate with your new bag. You won a B tier a couple of weeks ago. Can you just talk about that immediate confidence you have in that bag and how that will translate to taking down the W here at the elite event?
Yeah. I felt like all the hard work in the last few months led up to that tournament, and it really showed that I could trust my disc, at least for myself looking into the tournament. Again, it was just repetition after repetition, learning my disc and actually trusting it. It was one of the things I think I worked hardest on the offseason was just to really learn what the discs are going to do in win or no win or in certain shots or different shots. There was many discs that I only strictly forehand, but I backhand them just to learn what they would do in a certain scenario. But yeah, I feel pretty confident with my new bag.
To just go off that a little bit, you threw the Nova a lot, a real straight shot. What are you throwing now in the DD lineup to replace that?
I will be throwing the Warden and Moonshine plastic. Yeah, it's super straight. At first, when you first throw it, it's slightly stable, but I threw it a couple of times into our hillside course locally, and it beat up pretty fairly fast, so that's probably one of the discs I will be throwing the most.
Hola, Valerie.
Hello.
Raúl from MX Disc Golf. Pues en el mundo de Latinoamérica tienes muchos fans por tu ascendencia hispana, entonces queremos saber si tienes algunas palabras. So I know you don't speak Spanish, but you having your Hispanic basically background, we have a lot of fans that are big fans of you just from that. So we want to know if you have any words of encouragement for them.
Yeah, of course. I love my heritage and where I come from, and I'm always proud to represent you guys and us. I wish I did know Spanish, and I am learning to learn Spanish because I would love to communicate with more of my fans, like you said, the Hispanic side of it. I do want to make a trip to, we were actually talking to some people at DD about going to Mexico and helping teaching, the Hispanic culture, and I would love that, but I'd say keep striving and pushing. There'll be more of us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We got questions for Luke.
Hi, Luke.
How's it going, Zoe?
Welcome to Waco Charity Open, and you've been here a few times in the past, correct?
I have, yeah. It was my second Pro Tour event ever. Started out 2018 playing here. It was eye-opening experience then.
Very cool.
A little more normal now.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to just a couple weeks ago, the Las Vegas Challenge. What an exciting card you were on the final day. It's safe to say everybody was shredding. How is that going to bring you into the Waco Charity Open?
Yeah, that was special. 48 under par as a card, Ezra, Calvin, Kev. I felt like the vibes were going to be great, and we lived up to them. It was a fun round I'll never forget. Yeah, and coming in here, I think Vegas was my least favorite course that we played on tour, and this is my second least favorite course. So I'm just hoping the vibes continue, and I'm going to have fun. I promise that. I'm going to aim at stuff and throw Frisbees at it.
I like that. And so really, does that translate over to your practice plan? You're looking for trees as aiming points or specific aiming points to make it down these fairways?
Yes, ma'am, exactly. Yeah, picking specific spots and then deciding what angle my release point is and letting the practice speak for itself and just play the golf. Try and smile. We're going to take some tree kicks. You know there's going to be some times when you threw a better shot than the result ended up being, but you just got to take a deep breath and move on, one at a time.
Is it fair to say that the Beast requires a strong mental game?
I think so, yeah. You're going to see people get very lucky and have birdies when your shot was obviously better. No one's going to argue about that, but we're here to play, and it's a results-based game. So definitely mentally strong. I think that's why Paul Macbeth is won here. I think the winners typically come from mentally strong players, yeah.
Absolutely. Before I pass it off, any big advice to the newer players out there watching a course like this on footage this weekend? You know, it's a lot to digest, but for the new players out there aspiring to be on the Pro Tour, any words?
Be patient. You know, it takes time to get this good, and it takes time to be this comfortable on the stages that we're playing at nowadays with the cameras, with the people that you watch on YouTube playing against them. You know, it just it takes time, one step at a time. It's not a linear achievement mode either. You're going to have plateaus, and you just keep your head up and keep aiming at that spot.
Great advice. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank
and
you,
here's
Zoe.
Brian Earhart.
Thank you.
Hello, Luke.
Brian.
Got a few questions for you. You're a traditional golfer as well. You are a solid traditional golfer. Does that love for traditional golf translate to your hatred for a course like the Beast?
That's a wonderful question, and I think it does at the end of the day. Yeah, what I want to see and what I came from seeing was a good shot rewarded and a poor shot not rewarded. And that's not, like I was saying to Zoe, what we see every time out here. So the mental struggle is there. And especially someone who started in the golf. You know, if you slice a ball, it's not going to stop slicing and just all of a sudden come back or hit a tree and kick you 40 feet into the right spot. So, yeah, it does. That's a good question. Thank you.
Yeah, and backing up from this tournament, now that I know that you don't like the course and you're just going to go out swinging and do the best you can.
That's right.
You mentioned to me earlier this week that you are no longer doing post-production commentary alongside of competing, which is something you've done a lot of. I know I've done commentary with you before as well, and we both have shared the same struggle of competing, having to turn it off, commentate, go back to competing. Yeah. You got fourth place at Vegas last week when you weren't commentating. Right. Did you kind of feel like a burden was lifted off of you a little bit?
I did. It was partly the commentating and partly the preparation, I think, for the tournament. I had never been so prepared. I practiced putting for the first time in my career, really, and that helped. But yeah, not having extra duties is key. It's going to be key this year as well. I already feel more prepared here in Waco, and I can't wait to see where that goes in the future.
Excellent. And you just mentioned putting. A really interesting thing that I noticed from your stats at Vegas, I've known you as a fantastic spin putter. C1, C2, you have a lot of skills right outside the basket. Funny enough, when you got fourth place at Vegas, you were 33rd in C1X putting, but you were second place in park jobs for the entire tournament. You threw the disc fantastic. Do you feel like your driving skills are that of Vegas? And do you feel like if you clean up the putting, you have a shot at the W?
Yeah, I do. when the tournament was all said and done, I was 4 strokes out of the playoff, and I could think of 4 strokes off the top of my head very quickly. A lot of them were putts, and I think that I'm still getting used to the feeling that I could compete here. But yeah, it's setting in. Yeah, I can.
Excellent, man. Good luck.
Thank you, Brian.
What's up, Luke? Chris with Gatekeeper.
What's up,
I have a
Chris?
quick question. I know the fans want to know. So, for the past couple of years, you've really made the name for being the host of the Skins matches, a media personality. You took off the stash, which was a big thing for it.
Yeah.
Is this a new identity for you? Or are you trying to really focus on taking that step as a player and really competing at the highest level?
I suppose it's all kind of coming together and culminating and such, but it wasn't something I planned out necessarily. The stash had been here for a little while. It was kind of a joke that I felt like went too far. It was COVID dragging out, really, so I didn't want to be known as the guy with the stash my whole career. Hopefully those people are all right. I was pretty loud. Sorry about that, y'all. But no, I think that I'm just I'm dedicating myself to disc golf, and this is what's happening.
Sick. Yeah. Excited to see you compete.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, Luke. Hayden with the PDGA. Tell us your background in the sport. How did you get involved, and all the way up to your 2019 Rookie of the Year award, and where you're at right now.
Awesome. I started because I got a dog. Many of you guys know that dog, Hogan. I was playing a lot of golf. I couldn't leave him at home every day, so I decided birdies were birdies and turned it into disc golf. I kind of had the amateur status thing from the pro golf, like regular golf, that you don't really go pro unless you're trying to do it for your job. So I was playing a lot of AM golf. Somebody told me I should play the World Championships. I was taking some online flack for being amateur and as high rated as I was. So I was like, fine, I will. I won that randomly, and that springboarded into a pro discus sponsorship. That springboarded into the Rookie of the Year. And having good people around me, I think, is, at the end of the day, what this is all about. It's the community of disc golfers that surround this tour, that make it what it is, and I've felt the love from them, and it's turned me into this.
Thank you, Luke.
Hola, Luke.
What's happening, Raul?
Cuéntanos acerca de tu experiencia en Tangamanga. So tell me a little bit about the experience that you had down in Tangamanga.
That was incredible. Kevin and you and I were able to go down and meet up with Roger Shepard in San Luis Potosí, a spot that's got a beautiful park, the second largest park in Mexico there, Tangamanga Park, and they put in an elite level disc golf course there, and we were able to spend some time with the community, spend some time doing some clinics and teaching some disc golf to the kids, and it was an all-around amazing experience. I look forward to seeing those people again and getting back down there.
Awesome. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Raul.
Luke, thanks for joining us. We'll be right back.
All right.
Lowry, thanks for joining us. Questions?
Hi, Lowry. Welcome to Texas. Is this your first time here at this in the United States?
Yeah, it is actually.
And have you watched some of the coverage on this event?
Yeah, of course. Like every year's coverage I've watched. Yeah.
Are you excited to play this Waco Charity Open?
Yeah, really excited about that.
I'd like to highlight, so I think you're the second highest player from your country. Is that true?
Yeah, it is.
And what are your strengths in your game?
I think sidearm, it's really strong, and putting as well, I think.
Wonderful. And I think that there's a lot of sidearm shots on this course. Do you have a specific goal in mind for this weekend?
Not really. I haven't been here before, so it's really tough to say that what it means to be like 10th or so. So not really.
Okay. Well, for our viewers to get to know you, how long have you been playing disc golf?
Since 2015.
Okay. And how did you get into the sport?
Maybe through friends, I think. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, we're extremely happy to have you here, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Here's Brian Earhart with more questions.
Hello, Larry.
Hi.
A couple questions for you. So, you are a player in Finland who is a part of a group of young players that are really getting good. Niklas Antila is another player. I believe he's even younger than you. That's really coming up in Finland. Do you feel like all of these young players in Finland are kind of pushing each other to kind of raise the level of the sport in Finland?
Yeah, I feel like that. It's great to have like lots of other players at my age as well. So yeah.
Now, when you come over here, it's a lot different than Finland. What would you say is the biggest difference you've noticed so far, being in Texas?
I arrived at a week ago, so I think the traveling has been really tough, and I'm still having a little bit of jet lag. So yeah, maybe that, and the weather also. I came from the winter, and now it's summer here, so it feels great.
Now, what about this specific course that you're playing that you enjoy the most?
Woods, definitely. Like, I'm really familiar with that, so yeah.
Do you feel like you have a shot at winning the tournament?
Not maybe the first one, but hopefully like later this year.
Well, hopefully this is a great experience for you. Good luck with everything this week.
Thank you.
Hi there, Chris with Gatekeeper Media. You took down 2 wins at the Prodigy Pro Tour in Finland last year. What do you think is the most important part of your game to break through to be able to win here in America, whether it's you or any of your friends from Finland or Europe?
I think it's putting, because like that's the most important part of the game, and yeah, it's putting definitely here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. welcome back. Questions for Mason?
Hi, Mason. Welcome to Waco, Texas.
Hi.
And you currently live in the state of Texas, is that correct?
Yes, I do. I live in San Antonio.
And so is it nice to be playing a pro tour event in your home state?
Yeah, it's really nice to drive 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and be able to be here, or even, make a weekend trip here just to come and practice just because we are close.
So do you feel like you've got a good relationship or a good amount of practice rounds here at the Beast?
I think this is my 3rd or 4th year playing it even. So, I guess I'm pretty comfortable. I don't feel like I have to be here a week early like at other events and just kind of grind it out on the course. I feel like I can come play a round or two and just be refreshed and just throw. I know more or less what I want to throw for the shot.
Very good. And we know that you have switched sponsors for this year. Congratulations on being with DD.
Yep, DD, thank you.
And tell us about the switch. Tell us about the discs.
Well, the switch was fairly easy. I feel like, as a touring player, I felt like I can throw anything. It's just finding the molds that I want to fit those slots between mid-ranges, fairways, drivers, and stuff like that. So I feel like the switch was fairly easy. There are some discs that I find to have been missing from my old lineup that I kind of like now, that have kind of created a different shot or an easier shot to throw.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so specifically for your attack plan right here at the Beast, what do you think your strengths in your game are, and what's going to take you to the podium?
What's going to take me to podium is I don't get too wild on the tee. I'm normally, smooth, slow run up. I normally don't miss my lines too much. And in the woods, that's very important. And on the longer par fours, I feel like break the hole in half, throw the same shot twice. Don't do too much. And I feel like, I'm very good at not doing too much.
And is the putt feeling strong?
Putt's feeling good. Just got to be used to that Texas, 20-mile-an-hour wind. And for me, I always think about my nose angle on my putt. If my nose angle feels good, tailwind, headwind, feels good.
For the viewers, what are you putting with?
I'm using the EMAC Judge.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck this weekend, and I'm going to give it to Brian Earhart next.
Thank you.
Hello, Mason.
Hello.
Got a couple questions for you. So I asked this question to Valerie as well. This offseason, you switched bags. What did practicing this winter look like for you? I know you're in Texas, so you're able to play disc golf all year round.
Mm-hmm.
Were you playing a lot of rounds, doing a lot of field practice? What were you doing to kind of get yourself prepared for this year?
I would say at the beginning of the off season, when we started the switch, getting a bunch of new molds in, so we're, in the field, throwing shots that we're familiar with, not trying to throw any new shots really, just kind of filling that slot with that shot that we want to, the disc to fly. Or, in that case, learning a different shot where a disc, I didn't used to have could fly that way.
Yeah.
Then as the off season kind of transitioned, we started to put those shots onto a course. Mm-hmm. And then that's where I feel like you really start to build confidence.
Yeah.
Taking what you learned in the field over, repetition and being able to apply it to a spot where, I shot, 14 down on this course in the past. It's like, I shot 15 down today. Mm-hmm. So you can really see and start to build off of that.
Excellent. That's a great answer. Valerie had also mentioned that you're very picky about what discs you have in your bag. Are you the kind of player that gets a stack of 10 of the same disc and then can only like 2 or 3 of them?
I guess I'm picky because I don't like to throw the same discs. I'm the player that's like, well, I played, 2 events straight with this same bag. Well, I'm kind of bored of it. Mm-hmm. So let me switch this in and try this out and do this. And it's like, oh, well, now I have backups for those, or the ones that I do know are backups for what I have now.
Yeah.
So I'm just always kind of flipping stuff in and flipping stuff out as I go.
Excellent. So I was talking to Andrew Fish earlier today, and he had mentioned an interesting observation that this course seems to have 6 easy holes, 6 medium holes, and 6 difficult holes. Would you say the easier holes in this course are more important, or the more difficult holes are more important on this course?
I think the more difficult holes are more important because, I've been that player on this course where I'm 9, 10 down going into 17, 18. And I've been that player that's double bogeyed both of them before. So I would say the hard holes.
Last question. you have an RV, you're traveling with Valerie and Alexis now. Who do you project to be the messiest roommate?
Oh my God, that might be me.
Well, your honesty is fantastic. I won't go any farther. Good luck this week, Mason.
Hey, Mason, Chris with Gatekeeper, one question. You had a breakout year last year. You played very well at Worlds. You took down the win at Music City. What's one thing about your game that you're looking to work on this year to be able to take you to a multi-win season on this Pro Tour?
I guess just being able to pick a mindset before the event and stick to one thing that I want to learn from that event. You know, whether it's, you know, no matter what happens this week, we're going to stay calm and we're going to be kind of in the moment. Or we're going to focus on just circle 1 putts this week. Or we're going to focus on just circle 2 putts. Or, you know, I want to be putting for birdie on 10 of the holes or whatever, you know, that one goal might be. And just kind of staying in that mind space and being able to kind of build as I go throughout the year.
Thank you.
Hola Mason, Raúl de MX Disc Golf. Nosotros sabemos que eres de Texas y que viviste muy cerca de la frontera. ¿Aprendiste algo de español viviendo ahí? I know you're from Texas and you lived kind of close to the border before. Did you pick up any Spanish while you're living there?
I picked up some. I understood a little bit of what you said. Being down there, I feel like, you know, even working down there, you have to come accustomed to learning just a little bit. So I know a little bit of Spanish, yeah.
Okay. Well, we look forward to having you and Valerie in Mexico, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be right back. Joining us now, Texan and Disc Golf Hall of Famer Andy Young. Questions for Andy?
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Zoe.
Welcome to Waco. We're so honored to have you here. For our viewers, can you tell everyone, I'd say your PDGA number and how long you've been playing?
My PDGA number is 2094. I joined the PDGA in 1982. I have been playing for This is my 40th year.
Wow. Wow. Did you ever think that you would be right here with a microphone and the press conference for the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
No.
Is it exciting to see the absolute explosion growth of disc golf?
Oh my God, yes. I have been pioneering this sport, as I just said, for going on 40 years. I have been through peaks and valleys, small growth spurts. Some, 15, 20 years ago, we started to see growth spurts. The last 2 years has been unbelievable. So yeah, I've seen it all.
Wonderful. Can you share with us your top couple of, probably your favorite or best accomplishments in the sport?
Well, I started the sport in New Orleans, was moved up to the Midwest for a little bit, where immediately became like regional coordinator, and then transferred down to Houston, Texas in the prime of my own career, and there was absolutely no place to play at all. So I was questing the world title in 1990. I could see it. I was going to Phoenix, but yet I was in a place where there was no place to practice. And so not only that, but Mother Nature decided that I was going to become a mom. So I had to shift gears completely to grassroots, and I started pioneering and starting the sport in Houston, Texas. We went from 1989 to having 0 courses, and today I believe somewhere from in the 100-mile radius we probably have close to 100 now.
Wow.
I've had a lot of help with that along the way, of course, but yeah, that's one of my proudest accomplishments.
It's incredible to hear you say Houston, Texas had no courses. I think of Texas as one of the states to be considered a hotbed of disc golf, and I guess my question for you is, what's your favorite place to go and enjoy a casual round now?
There's a couple of them. One in particular is we own a golf and disc golf facility. 2004, the owner asked me to come and see if disc golf would work on his golf course. And I went and looked at that, but I said, what about the wooded perimeter here? What's going on there? I said, that's where your disc golf course is. And so we went ahead and designed that, and some 7 years later, after working hand in hand with him, we ended up purchasing the entire facility. So Spring Valley Golf and Disc Golf is my home, and of course, my favorite place to play.
Cool. Very, very cool. And for all of you out there, I hope you have a chance to visit. Just got to ask this one. What's the go-to driver and what's the go-to putter?
More than happy to tell you that. My go-to driver is the Latitude 64 Mall. Please bring back the gold version. Please. My straight. And I threw the rock forever. The rock rocks. I have said that forever and ever and ever. And then I putt with Latitude 64 Spike. And I'm also toying with the Lone Star Jackrabbit.
Cool. And Lone Star is a local disc manufacturer here to Texas.
Actually, they came to consult with us, a plastics manufacturer right up the road from where we live, and the boys both played, and they wanted to ask some questions about getting into molding discs, and so we kind of helped them out on the ground floor, and now they can barely keep up with themselves.
Very, very cool. I could sit here and talk to you all day, but I don't want to hog the microphone. I just want you to know that we're all honored to have you here and to have you watching and supporting disc golf. And here's Brian Earhart.
Thank you.
Hi there, Andy.
Hi.
Got a couple questions for you. Your PDGA is 2094. Mm-hmm. You've been a member since '83, and something I like to always bring up, especially to people that have been in the game for a long time. As of 2020, I believe there were 1,215 approved discs for the PDGA.
Mm-hmm.
Of these 1,215 that are maybe out of production, which discs that are not being made do you wish new players knew more about?
Well, they need to know that we all started with moonlighters with phosphorus in them to give them weight. That's what we all began with, rounded noses, and we thought they flew really far. on my way to my first Worlds in '84, we went up and stopped in Michigan at Discraft when it was just Jim and Gail, and they had a brand new disc that they had just come out with called a Phantom. And on that trip, I happened to have a trunk full of this Innova disc called an Eagle. And so we picked up the Phantom, we went on to Rochester, opened the trunk and had those to sell, sold every single Eagle in a heartbeat, and then I was going to use this Phantom, and I was told that I couldn't because there weren't 100 of them in circulation yet.
And those are early discs. And to clarify, the Eagles you're talking about are not the same as the Eagles that people are throwing now, correct?
It's called the Arrow today.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that you started out playing just Frisbee. You started doing overall competitions, freestyle, with the older Frisbees and Whammos that we used to see. Mm-hmm. With how big disc golf and Ultimate have gotten over the years, do you think overall could ever make a resurgence?
You know, freestyle is such an unbelievable art. And I would love to see a resurgence of freestyle and the accuracy competitions, accuracy, distance, self-caught flight, discathon. I mean, discathon on a disc golf course today is so fun. So yes, I think I would like to see that. I was lucky enough to be around. I started as a freestyler, and I was lucky enough to be around to see the likes of the Coloradicals and Jim Schmall and Deaton Mitchell were good friends of mine, actually. And so I was very lucky to be able to see the art of that era for freestyle.
I just have one last question for you. Again, I'm very interested in where we come from, and I'm very grateful for the people like you who have set the path for the rest of us to even think about making a living in disc golf. Pretty incredible. But something I found very incredible from back when you were playing a lot of disc golf was the best players also seem to have to be the best promoters of the sport, way outside of just making a post on social media. Mm-hmm. Can you comment on some of the things you had to do before it was very easy to just press a button?
Oh my God. First tournament I ever did, borrowed money from the bank. Borrowed money from the bank to put it on, and we got a nacho stand, and we thought we were going to have all these spectators, and so we really went all out for that. And needless to say, we were able to pay that off, but it took a little while. Another really fun thing was in 1984, the World's Fair was in New Orleans, and we were able to get the word out to Texas. Most of the players that would come were Austin. We had to go all the way to Austin or Shreveport, and so they all you send letters or you make phone calls, and they all came. And the perk was we all got to go to the World's Fair for free.
Simpler times back then. Well, we're so grateful that you've done all that you've done for the sport of disc golf, especially in Texas. And I've been to Houston and played disc golf in Houston, and it's fantastic out there, and the community out there is bustling, to say the least. So thank you so much, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Hey, Andy. It's
Hi.
Hayden with the PDGA.
Hi.
Talking a little Disc Golf Hall of Fame. What's new with the Hall of Fame, recent updates, and what does 2022 look like?
As you guys may or may not know, I became the administrator from Speedy going on 3 years now, and brought George Sappenfield in. He and I were inducted together in 2018. Never in my wildest dreams would I ever expect to find myself here as the now executive director. We became a 501c3 last year, achieved a nonprofit as an educational nonprofit, because one of our biggest goals is to educate today's generations about the founders who planted the seeds as to why they're here, being able to make a living at it, almost things that we just dreamed of. We have worked tremendously to establish new relationships with the current media. We have this wonderful opportunity with Disc Golf Network to introduce more of the Hall of Famers to the next generations. And we've also been working on some of updating criteria for elections. There's always been a bit of the elections have always been fair, but a closed process. There's been many questions about what is that process. And so another one of our goals is to bring more transparency to that. And in order to do that, we've had to do a lot of homework and a lot of studying of the of other halls of fame to see where the parallels are and what are the best things to do for this Disc Golf Hall of Fame, because we're still pretty young.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Andy, thank you. We'll be right back. Joining us now, Simon, ahead of your first event on tour this year, new father.
Yeah.
Open it up for questions.
All right. Simon, welcome back to the tour.
Thanks,
and
Ellie.
welcome to Waco, Texas. You've been here a few times in the past. Are you excited to be back in Texas?
I'm so excited. 2 weeks ago, I was watching the Vegas coverage with my little son in my arm. I watched all 8 hours every day, and I was itching so bad to go play. You know, New England weather, 2 feet of snow basically for the last 2.5 months. So I've thrown a handful of discs this year, but not more. So I'm really excited to be here in a t-shirt and enjoy the Texas. I love it.
All right. Baby Emmett, as you just mentioned, can you tell us how long you've been a father? How old's Emmett?
Woo, 4.5 weeks-ish.
Wow.
My brain is so melted because I haven't slept in 4.5 weeks. I've slept like it's more naps, not really sleep. So it feels like it's been 6 months of my life have just passed in the last 4 weeks. But yeah, it's a different life. I stereotypes, but it's all true.
Oh, absolutely. Have you found any time to focus on the play? I mean, it sounds like the weather and being a new daddy makes it challenging.
Yeah, actually, I did Vlogmas, so where I actually played every day in December. That definitely helped to get a nice routine in. And ever since that, I got into a little putting practice routine in my basement where I practice 25 footers, 30 footers. Like I try to do like 200 to 400 putts a day. And I was able to stick with that for the first time in my life. So I just played my first practice round here and I made every putt. So I'm like, yeah, it works. All the myths are true. So I'm excited. Tomorrow is going to be absolutely crazy. So the putter probably doesn't even matter really tomorrow because it's just going to be layups from 20 feet. Who knows? But I've been practicing putting and that's pretty much it. And I've been watching a lot of disc golf and I want to play.
It's so great to hear a player with so many titles, so much experience growing up in the game. You're hungry to play. What's it going to be for you this weekend? I mean, you've played Waco before, you've played the Beast, but what's the focus to get yourself up in that top 10?
Wow, top 10. I wasn't thinking about that yet. Of course, I was thrown on the featured card again tomorrow, last tee time tomorrow with Paul Macbeth and Gannon Burr and Nico Lacastro. So I'm like, thanks guys. I'm right there with 15 cameras on my face right off the bat again, which can help, but for the first round of the year, You know, there might be some nerves or some like a bit of insecurities at the beginning, but I think the weather might actually play to my advantage. First of all, I have the tilt, which tomorrow is going to be like the most valuable disc on the course. And it takes some of the pressure off because it's going to be so crazy, unpredictable. So it's not like we don't expect to go out there and shoot a hot round tomorrow. It's just kind of try to keep it in the lines. And first tournament of the year for me, low expectations. I'm not thinking about top 10. I just want to have fun.
And I could talk to you all day, but last question here. What is it like for tour this year, knowing that you're going to be flying in and out of events, not as much practice, but that you have a beautiful wife and baby to go home to?
It's different. It's crazy. I mean, I've been doing the flying in and out for a couple of years now, but this year I'm really committing to like flying in a day before the tournament, getting one practice round in, playing, and the next morning flying back home. And the whole, I don't know, I heard a lot about the dad power. Like you're not playing for yourself anymore, really. You're playing for your family and your kid, because it's just like it's a different feeling, and like it puts such a different perspective on life. Of course, like I've heard that so many times, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But it's just true. It's like nothing really matters. What we do out here, like nothing really matters. So it's fun. I'm looking forward to it. Also for my elbow, you know, I've been through a lot of injuries in the past, and maybe just playing one practice round and kind of just doing my thing is maybe better.
Very cool.
Overthinking things can be like the worst thing, and the more you practice on these courses, maybe the more you think about shots, because there's all these different options. So sometimes the simpler the better, and I like it that way.
All right, well, as I pass it off, coming from the viewers and all the people excited to see you, you look really important, looking like a dad. Keep it up.
Thanks, Zoe.
Hello, Simon.
What up, Brian?
I have a couple of questions for you. You talked about your elbow. How is it feeling overall?
Yeah, so with my injury, rest is actually not that good for it. I'm supposed to throw like a couple times a week, at least like into a net or something, which I kind of have been forgetting for the last 2 months. So I just played my first real round out here, and it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was great. I can definitely compete and I can definitely play. I'm not too worried about it, but I feel it and I know it's still there. So I think when the season progresses a bit and I get into the flow, it's going to get better and better throughout the year.
Great.
Yeah.
I noticed last year on coverage that you were on, just the limited times that you were playing on the coverage, I noticed that your form overall, your technique has condensed quite a bit. You know, you're even getting to the point where you're not even fully extending for a distance shot. You had mentioned that you've been down-tempoing a lot more, throwing a lot slower, smoother shots.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's actually going to be a pretty good thing for you out here? Are you still throwing like that?
Yeah, I mean, right now in my head is round one, and the conditions are going to be so crazy that who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like hard to really say. But my biggest change has really been the discs I'm throwing, because I used to throw, you know, the PD2s and the FT3s, these really overstable discs, like pretty much on any line. And now it's not really a disc down, but it's less overstable, like the DD3s. Like I can throw them with much less effort and they go as far, which I wonder why I didn't think about that earlier. It makes like total sense. But yeah, I think it's normal with when you get a bit older. My body has changed a lot. I used to be like 140 pounds and now I'm like 190. So my body has changed a lot, and I think it's just, I try to keep it a bit more simple.
Cool. Last question for you. Your dad, you have a place in New England now. Life is coming at you fast. What is the disc golf career looking like for you? When you came over here in, what was it, 2013 was the first time you came over? 2014. Life was different, and you just needed to play some disc golf. What does the career look like for you now?
I mean, disc golf is in the best place it's been ever.
Yeah.
So it's very bright. I'm extremely excited. Discmania is probably the sponsor forever for me, and they're in the best position they've ever been with doing their own manufacturing now, and they're starting to really like ramp up, and the opportunities and possibilities we'll have this year and the next 2 or 3 years, it's going to be a whole different life for the top Discmania guys. So I'm still up there. I still have at least a handful of years, maybe 10 more good years of physical athleticism, I guess. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere. The YouTube thing is still happening. I'm still enjoying that as well. That's going to keep going a bit. I think I'm in a good spot. I'm excited for the next 5 years. And who knows, I might move also in the next couple of years to the hotspot, Charlotte. That's where you live.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
I mean, anyway, have a good day.
See you, Brian.
What's up, Simon? Chris with Gatekeeper. It's good to see you.
too.
So what are you putting with now? You said you did a lot of practice putting. What's the mold now that you're falling into?
So Eagle brought out this new putter, the Rainmaker, and we had the prototypes, of course, last year already trying out, and I really like the feel of it. It's like a bit shallower, a bit straighter out of the hand, less fade at the end like the P2s I used to putt with. So I tried those and ended up not really liking them. I haven't played this year, but I've already changed my putters like 4 times this year. So it's a bit mental, but right now I have some of the new Discmania original P2s, which have been great for the last couple of weeks. So they worked great today, and we're just going to see what happens. I have no expectations, really. Just throw it in and commit. That's the only thing I care about.
Can you give us any hints to like any new signature molds or any new things coming out from Discmania?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get in trouble for this, but this has been teased a lot. The Sky God 4 is coming, which is the new C-Line P2s, which feel so good, and I'm not biased. It's like this. It's really good. And I have a signature grip bag coming soon. I'll tease that in the next couple of days. Anything else? There's going to be a new tilt, which is going to have a slightly different name and a new design, which is also going to be sick. And we're working on a merch line for my YouTube. So basically, I'm killing it.
Yeah, busy guy.
Yeah.
Last question. This is a little more mental to the actual game. When you're in a tournament and you play a hot round, do you have a different decompression that night compared to if you play a bad round, per se?
Yeah, of course. I always say that I don't really care about winning or where I place in a tournament, but playing well versus playing poorly really affects me because no one likes to play bad. I still want to play the best I can play, but where I end up in the tournament doesn't really matter to me, but I still want to play well. That's the most important thing. And after a good round, I mean, I think I can speak for every disc golfer in the world that you're just happy and you have a beer and feel good. And after a bad round, you have a beer and feel terrible. That's basically the difference.
Awesome. It's nice to talk to you, Simon. Thank you.